Welcome to our Cloud MythBusters series, a series geared towards assisting organizations in getting rid of their cloud myths and realizing their full cloud potential. I am Vandita Narayan, your host for today's podcast. Today, we will be examining one of the main deterrents to cloud adoption, that is, transitioning to cloud is complex. Joining us in busting this myth is Krishna Prasad. Welcome, Krishna Prasad.
Hi, hello, Anita. Everyone.
Glad to have you, Krishna Prasad. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Hey, I'm Krishna Prasad. I'm the principal architect, platform engineering on Microsoft Azure.
It is our pleasure to have you, Krishna Prasad. Transitioning to cloud is often associated with lots of uncertainties, which misleads organizations into a notion that cloud transition itself is complex. Without further delay, let's start breaking down this myth in our podcast. My first question is, how will transitioning to cloud make an organization business better? How can they achieve cost optimization? Will there be growth in revenue?
I think once you migrate to cloud, you no longer worry about managing your hardware, space, operations, power needs, software updates, and things like that. So with cloud, you can configure systems to auto update, auto scale, and make them highly available, which can improve overall reliability, stability of the systems. So your organization can mainly, focus on business process improvements, bringing new features, quickly, develop new products, which can, provide better user experience. Hence, in this process, by optimizing cloud resources, you can reduce your cost of operations and increase revenue, bringing new services into the market.
That's good to know. My next question is, how can organizations overcome the uncertainty of transition cost, time frame, and ROI during cloud transition?
The cloud transition, can be tricky based on the context that you have, the scenarios, that you want to, transition. So we might have to take different migration paths, that can help us, using a predefined, a proven process, frameworks, tools, which can automate the workloads. So we can reduce, the burden, and optimize the resources and cost predictably. Again, in Sonata, we use cloud adoption framework that which we have built with the experience that we have, which is aligned to Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework, which brings the discipline throughout all the phases of cloud adoptions. We use various tools which are from Azure, native tools themselves, and also we have built our own tools which are part of cloud adoption, which we use from strategy to estimating the work, estimating the resources, cost, the migration effort, with the utmost accuracy, so that we can predict how much time and effort that we spend in this transition. So it's very important that we determine the right migration path, which can yield better results in saving the transition cost.
That's insightful. My next question is, an organization might find it has unique business process, which may not suit for cloud adoption. How can they transition to cloud?
Sure, definitely. Some of the organization will definitely have some of the unique systems, especially for example sensitivity around the data that they have, which is very internal to their business and not meant for any shared or multi-tenant cloud environment. But however, I think the cloud providers are bringing a lot of security features, which can be end to end, which can enable required security that is required for these kind of applications to be put. There are multiple options to host these For example, a private cloud, or like even the government sensitive data can be hosted on government clouds, which are provided by these cloud providers, where organization can securely have these applications and leverage the cloud benefits like scalability, auto scalability, elasticity that is required. Definitely, organizations must have the strategy to identify and segregate these kind of workloads and host them accordingly in respective cloud environments.
All right. If an organization has a huge user base, due to its cost per user, it is more economical for that organization to host itself rather than using cloud. Would that be a correct decision?
Yeah, I mean, some customers, I mean, though, it seems that for them hosting the application, if there's a large user base, on-premise is a good option to save cost, but definitely one needs to, look into closely the, usage, the transaction statistics, the performance metrics of the, application, and compare the TCO and ROI, they get between these two environments, and then decide on which option is better than just taking a decision on, no, I don't want to move to cloud. But definitely, we can find better options on cloud, which will give better benefits. So again, if you look at the applications, not all applications will have a constant demand for resources. It's always depends on the user behavior, the events, maybe some of the festivals, where there is a lot of demand, and then the applications have to serve accordingly. Um, when we have put these applications on cloud, the auto scalability features of some of the cloud services will take care of those huge demands. And whenever there is no demand, again the you can release those resources, and this will definitely have an impact on the cost in terms of whenever you use only that much amount of cost would be charged, and whenever you are not using those resources, you will save the cost there. So again, you need to make a good judgment of whether the application is is having a constant demand for resources, and then take a call on cloud. What is the right way of hosting? Is the serverless way of hosting will be better in saving cost, or whether it should be a continuously running application like an app service, or even a VM would do in some cases to kind of provide the demand that is required. So definitely you will have to weigh in which one is the most optimal option for you. So, but moving even these kind of applications onto cloud will give you a better results in terms of managing those resources, and also get the benefits of auto scalability and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it depends on how you kind of investigate these applications from the telemetry or whatever you say statistics information that is there, and then take a call on those.
Okay, that is very insightful to know. Now, how can organizations transfer their licenses even after the cloud transition?
Sure, I think this is the problem that customers always think of. What do I do with the existing licenses after transitioning to cloud? So definitely there are a lot of ways the cloud provider, especially Azure, provides a special benefit called a hybrid benefit. What happens is, when you're migrating Windows and SQL Server on-premise workloads, you can use those existing licenses which are covered under software assurance. So this can save a lot of cost on licensing, and also hybrid benefits will help in using these licenses both on premises and cloud during this transition for up to 180 days. You only pay for additional capacity that you have created on cloud. You don't have to pay for any licenses. And this same thing applies for Red Hat and SUSE Linux subscriptions as well. But for other software, licenses, definitely we need to check on the feasibility with the respective vendor of that software. Is there any SaaS-based offering is there which we can leverage, or the same license would apply on cloud as well, or some of the things that we need to look at when we are transitioning these applications. Coming to third-party integrations, again, you will not have a standalone application. Most of the cases, enterprise applications will have a lot of integrations with third-party systems and services. So, what is that we need to do in order to kind of enable those is two things, right? One is whether we have to get those third-party software as well onto cloud, or is there any SaaS version of those applications? Or the third is like enabling the on-premise connectivity, which will be provided by Azure cloud. You can have VPN connectivity or express route kind of a connectivity, which you can still connect to those existing applications if they are not movable to cloud, or if there is no SaaS offering on those.
Okay. My next question would be, how can organizations ensure mission critical process run without any disruptions even during the transition?
I think there's no simple answer to this. Every organization's journey to cloud begins with a well-planned and thorough assessment of their existing on-prem landscape. There are a number of risks involved. Migrating critical workloads to clouds, since they're the ones which are essential to the immediate viability of the organization, fundamentally necessary for success. So it's always better to take a measured and phased approach while migrating to cloud. And this is where Microsoft cloud adoption framework guides organizations in planning their cloud migration strategy. Also, the tools that will enable moving these mission critical applications without disruptions while migrating to cloud. So there are multiple options that you have when you're working with these applications. Again, it depends on the feasibility of those applications. You can bring those some of the supported workloads with a very minimal or no interruption to those applications onto cloud. So there are some of the vertically stacked monoliths that needs to be kind of carefully refactored without modifying the external behavior. Again, it depends on what kind of a migration path we have taken, right? So if the mission critical application is lift and shift way, and then we can just get it down to cloud, it is possible that without any downtime we can get them onto cloud. But if the application is not so feasible and we cannot get that onto cloud easily, then we'll have to go via the approach of modernization, wherein we look into the application various different aspects of it, architecture, be it technical debt, and then see how and also the data of that application. So how it has to be kind of migrated onto. We would have a migration or modernization plan in place, and switch over as and when the modernization is ready. So again, it's the careful planning, and also the automation tools that can help getting this mission critical apps onto cloud, ensuring the risks and downtimes are low.
That's very insightful. In view of recent cloud outages, how can the cloud reliability be trusted?
See, I think we need to understand that these outages are inevitable, whether the systems are on premise or on the cloud. So I think the critical questions that we need to handle is to say that how we can reduce the impact to a minimum. So these outages can result in revenue losses to customers, and then maybe may lose, customers trust. All of those, kind of things will happen. But for us, it's very important that how do we leverage the right, architecture when we are moving these kind of applications, and then use the right mechanisms to make sure that our applications are available all the time. Again, it depends on like what kind of application and how long it needs to be available. What is our high availability architecture? What's our disaster recovery architecture? Again, Microsoft Azure, if you look at it, provides lots of availability features at various levels. Be it at a zone level, be it at a geo level. There are various different options available that you can do to replicate your data across. And you can use the features like availability sets, traffic manager, the site recovery, the backups, store various mechanisms of storing and keeping these applications, copy of these applications, and make sure that whenever there is a failure, we can bring the other application online. Okay, and I think to add to that, there is one more strategy that we can use also is to have an hybrid strategy. Okay, it's not just whatever I told just now, the GA level, the zone level, would be sufficient, because some of the events that occurred recently, brought down the whole data center down, and then a lot of customers got affected, which brought to the decision on how do we make sure that even in those cases the systems are available. I think that's when this hybrid strategy of having multi-cloud applications is something very important. Maybe you would have on-premise as well, keep running while your cloud application takes more of the workload, or even any other cloud for that matter. So having multi-strategy cloud for some critical applications which are to be available all the time is very important, which we have to consider while we are architecting our applications.
That's good to know. My last question would be how to be compliant with increasing security compliances being issued by governments regarding citizens' data.
This is the question that every customer would be asking. And again, cloud providers, like Azure provides multiple various, services to handle this kind of a security compliance, that is required across the globe. So there are various, features. Again, if you look at compliances, Azure provides various, different compliance required, like GDPR, SOX, PCI. You can make sure that your environment are adhering to those compliances. And the features like Azure policy enforces organization-wide governance for all the resources that you're using, and maybe even future workflows that you're bringing. As long as you have defined those policies. Again, these policies can be managed centrally, that you can track the compliance status of all the resources that you're using, and these policies can be enforced in various different ways through CI/CD pipelines, policy as a code kind of a thing, which is kind of part of shift left strategy. And automatic remediation, again through bulk remediation of all non-compliant resources can be achieved through these automated tasks, which you can also write through PowerShell or CLI and enable these automated tasks. Again, there are separate cloud that are also provided. For example, Azure has Azure Government Cloud that can be used to build solutions that meet some of the regulated control data needs by the government. Again, it provides the isolated cloud environment. Again, which is physically isolated and separately administrated from the rest of the world public cloud that which we use. So that makes sure that you have your data privately without sharing with others. Again, I think many of these compliance requirements are handled at infrastructure level. Again, the workloads hosted by Azure government by Microsoft, which does a lot of things at infrastructure level to enable all of these compliances. And again, Azure also provides compliance blueprints and samples, and you can apply standardized way to ensure compliance across the subscription. So I think there are a lot of compliance features that you can use to make sure that your data is secure on your cloud. And knowing those services is very important, and also bringing governance that all of these policies and processes are in place to make sure that our data is not at risk is something that we need to be doing as part of our managed services.
All right, that was very enlightening and really great to know.
Sure. Thanks, Madita.
Thank you, Krishna Prasad. From all your inputs, we can without doubt claim that transitioning to cloud is not a complex process. Thank you all for joining us today. Join us next time to bust the myth moving to cloud takes long and we don't have time.